All right, day 571. Today, I'm going to talk about the Vortex Rule and why this rule can save you years of pain. If you ever felt like life is harder than it needs to be, and when you're pushing forward, but something or someone is dragging you down, well, that, my friend, is what Tai Lopez calls the Vortex Rule from his 67-step program. I bought it so that you don't need to do it. And I'm doing this because I'm trying to make sure I pass on all these lessons to my kids, like my daughter Soleil. Because just in case something ever happens, I can leave all these lessons for you. This is a mic, yeah, that is speaking to it so you can listen to it when you're older, okay? Okay. Now, this rule, and this is a lesson that I've learned. If you ignore this rule, it can cost you everything from your relationships to your money, your future, right? Any sort of real estate opportunities in the future, it might cost you. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it all down. And whether you're an investor, small business owner, entrepreneur, doesn't matter what it is, right? This is going to change the way you think about who you let into your life. You got treasure? You're my treasure. I love you. All right. So let's keep going. Let's stay at the highest level, right? So the vortex rule is the idea that toxic people or environments, they can rapidly pull down the quality of your life, your business, your relationships, even if you're doing everything else right, right? Think about it when you think about, hey, it doesn't matter you have the biggest helicopter. If you're strapped to a piano and a swing wildly, chances are that might make the helicopter crash. Doesn't matter if it's $1 million helicopter. It can get into trouble if you have the wrong weight pulling you down. Okay, you go sleep? Okay. Okay. She's okay. Love you. So let's talk about the real law of gravity in life, right? So in physics, right, there's gravity, it pulls you down, and life is the same thing. But this is the kicker, right? It's way easier to be pulled down by others than to lift them up. Think about every aspect of your life. Think about an airplane, how much fuel it costs, how much technology it takes for you to get that airplane just to take off from the ground. Once you're cruising, easy, right? And obviously, if you ever want to just jump off and come back down, I mean, it's so easy because gravity's going to pull you right down. So, all things in life, you can really see that this applies to almost a lot of things. It's way easier to be pulled down than to lift things up. So, how does this apply in life? When you think you can save someone, right? Whether it's a lazy business partner, a friend that's not listening to you about working out, right? Or you have a negative friend, or you have a bad romantic partner, right? You're betting against the laws of nature, right? You are fighting a very steep hill. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying you're fighting and going up a very steep hill. And if you're trying to lift someone up, let's say you're trying to carry someone up a mountain, but they want to sit down and they refuse to move. That is really hard. I'm not sure if you ever try to carry dead weight, but that's really hard, literally and figuratively. So you got to think about it, right? There's an analogy on the Thai uses, right? Called why one bad apple can destroy the whole barrel of apples. Now, it's not just a saying, right? It's science too. So you might have one rotten apple that releases the gas that spoils all the other apple nearby. This can happen with people. You ever been on a team where, or even a school project, that you have one team member with a terrible attitude, toxic attitude, bad attitude, negative, whatever, like, or you had a friend that's always negative, always complaining? It's not math. They don't average out your energy. They infect it. And this is why I want to share this with my daughter, my children, and all of our children. Because here's the reality. I think when you're a kid, you want to fit in. And that might come at the cost of sacrificing your values, trying to fit in because everybody wants to fit in. No one wants to be the outcast. But you have to choose very wisely about who you hang out with. That is a choice you will always have. And you have a toxic influence, someone that's spreading negativity or hate or dysfunction. I'm telling my kids right now, don't hang out with them. You would be better off without them. In business, if any of you ever start a business or anybody you ever start your own team or just manage your own team, who cares what it is? If you hire one bad person on your team, it's almost like you're putting a hole in the bottom of your boat, right? Doesn't matter how people are rowing, right? If you have a hole in the bottom of your boat, you're going to be sinking. So, again, I'm trying to come up with different analogies, right? I'm trying to come up with analogies that I can use to explain to my daughter that resonates with her and our future children, right? So if you have better analogies that can explain these concepts, please let me down in the comments. I just want to become a better dad. And most importantly, I really want these lessons. I mean, I hope that this is one of the videos that my kids will click on one day because it's very important. Because here comes this next section. This is the one I'm very guilty of, and I've learned this. Most people are overconfident. Let me say that again. Most people are overconfident about their skills and their ability to save someone. Right? This is where we mess up. We think we're the exception. Oh, I I'm a 10 or I'm a 9 out of 10. So I'm so strong. Like I'm gonna be able to bring those people up to my level. But unless you are a solid 10 out of 10 in strength, discipline, and there's one area that that other person is struggling with, right? You're not pulling anyone out of anything. You're not saving anybody. They're just going to pull you down. Have you ever tried to help a gambling addict? Well, if you are not a gambling addict and you have zero temptation for gambling and you are a 10 out of 10, they're still going to pull you down. Unless there's one exception, right? That Ty talked about, and I agree with this one, is they have to want it. They have to want it really, really bad because you can't want it for them. That want, that desire for change has to come from there within. Yeah, could you say some things motivating? But no, change comes from within. That's why telling someone to exercise doesn't work. You ever try to tell a friend that's super overweight and you're like, hey, let's go exercise or eat healthy? Everyone knows that diet and exercise is the key to a lot of things, plus good sleep, right? But they still won't do it. So you decide to hang out people that do not have the same aspirations for a healthy lifestyle, chances are they're going to pull you down. If you're trying to help, and Ty shared a story about how he had a half brother that got addicted to drugs very early, teenager years. Got in trouble, but then eventually he helped his brother work at his company for 2 years. But that's because he wanted it. He wanted to be sober. He wanted it to progress. But then he tells the story about how his half brother then meets this girl and starts seeing her. And he's like, oh, she used to be an addict. He's like, yeah, she's working on it. And he tried to tell him not to do it. But he did. And he fell back into addiction. Why? Because she didn't really want it. And he might not have been a 10. So this is where this overconfidence bias comes from, right? You have a tendency to believe that you can do more than you realistically can, especially when it comes to helping others, right? And there's a lot of ego problem. I have to tell myself, I'm not Superman, right? If I'm not a great swimmer, I should not be diving into the deep end in a riptide or into the ocean with super rough waves because I'm just going to become a victim myself. Okay. There's exception. I'm not saying you can't help anybody, but they have to want to change. That's the only one time you can help others when they genuinely want it. You can't drag someone up. Just like that analogy, if they don't want to go up the mountain, they're not moving, they don't want to go up, you can't pull them up. That's absurd. That's crazy talk. All right. Now, let's talk about business. Let's talk about the bad partner effect, right? Let's say you got a partner who's he's kind of good, but then they complain all the time. They don't return calls. It's like even if you're talented, like if you're on top of your game, like let's say you're a 9 out of 10 business person, that partner that's not on top of it, they're gonna bring you down. They're gonna bring you down. Find the folks that have the skill set that you respect. Find the person whose work ethic is the same as yours. Because sometimes it's not even the intelligence. You're not looking for someone that's smart. You want to look for someone at a principle basis that they have equal, if not more, work ethics than you. Because otherwise, if the work ethic is misaligned or your mindsets are misaligned and your values are compromised, there's gonna be imbalance. It's gonna be drag. It's like two people pulling a rope in two different directions, and then you end up going nowhere. All right. So here's the lesson, right? There's always that expression like, hey, you're the average of five people you're closest to, right? Who you let in is going to equals to where you end up, right? If you have a 5 out of 10 type of person, whether it's health, wealth, love, happiness, and you hang out with a 5 and you want to start out as a 9, they're going to bring you down to a 5. It doesn't even average out to like a 7.5. That's not how it works, or 7. Doesn't That's not how it works. You have to decide who your inner circle is because you really become who you spend time with. You need people on your own level. And I'm not saying like break up with all your friends. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't think you can lift everyone up yourself, right? If someone has a brain tumor and you're not a neurosurgeon, right? You're a 1 out of 10. You start cutting into someone's brain, you're gonna kill them or paralyze them, whatever it might then be. If you're not qualified, you're not a 10 out of 10, right? You can help them a different way. You can help them look for the best of the best neurosurgeon. You can help them interview. They have different type of problem. Maybe you can get them help, right? Maybe they have an addiction problem. Go find them someone that has been sober for 10 years, not 1 month, not 6 months, not 1 year. Someone that's been able to show that they've walked the walk and they've been able to resist. All right. So my kids, Soleil, if you're listening to this when you're older, you have to figure out what your practical values are, what you care. I'm gonna pick your color. Okay. Give me 1 minute, okay? I'm gonna finish this lesson for you, okay? You don't want it? You don't want the lesson? This is gonna be so funny. I hope you look at this when you get older. All right. It's not surface level stuff like I like dogs or we both like pizza. You got to go different in terms of how you handle your lifestyle, your goals, when you like to travel, what do you like to do? You like the city life? You like to live farm life? Do you like to do what kind of music do you like? Right? Do you enjoy being unconventional? Do you enjoy going to concerts? Right? You have to pull together. And the best phrase I've heard about this is if you're not growing together, then you are growing apart. So be very careful about this. So I hope you listen to this when you're older. I love you so much. All right. This is day 571. Okay, let's do it. Hey, have an amazing day, everyone. Again, this is not legal advice. Yeah. Okay. Say hi to yourself. It's not legal advice, not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on the call. I'm just simply trying to become a better dad. Say bye bye. All right. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow for day 572.